Our president, Dr. Michael Jackson, is going to talk to you for about 5 minutes before we get started with this afternoon's session. So, Dr. Michael.
Wake up, America. Oh, wrong talk. Everybody needs to listen up. We've got some exciting news. I'd like to announce that Dr. Donald Robbins and his wife, Dr. Kathleen Boyle, PhD, are going to be assisting Phil Sukel in the Scientific Review and Clinical Practice Guidelines Committee. We've needed some help, and we think that these two can really be a big help to us in that. Kathy is going to come. I'm going to take 5 minutes from our next speaker to give Kathy an opportunity to come and speak. We've learned this weekend that the FDA says that they have, they have no information about mercury adverse reactions. The Academy has said that they've sent a bunch in, and you look at the numbers that the FDA claims they have, and it's almost none. Kathy has an interesting idea on how we can change that. So if y'all will welcome Kathy Boyle.
Thank you very much. Just to give you a brief background, I have I have a master's in chemistry, a doctorate in biochemistry and nutrition. I've been in and around the pharmaceutical industry for about 22 years. The last 10 years of that has been in medical communications and medical education. I jumped out because I was on the wrong side of opinion in the pharmaceutical industry. However, all that experience has helped me get to the point of recognizing what needs to be done when you're up against the FDA, which I did for many years. How many of you have ever called the Poison Control Center when you have a patient coming in with what appears to be an adverse event or a reaction to a mercury filling? Anyone? Do you think any of your patients have called, or do you know of any patients who have called in after they've had a mercury filling placed? Because this is something that can be done. The poison control centers, there are 61 poison control centers in the United States. All the data is dumped into a national database, and it is rolled into a report. At the computer, sorry. It's rolled up into a report annually. The 2007 data was just released in December 2008. There's the information, and we'll be rolling this up to the website. It is reported in the National Poison Data System. In 2007, there were almost 2.5 million calls reported about human exposures. There were about 1,500 human fatalities. Specifically, when you look at fluoridated toothpaste, there are approximately 24,000 cases, of which 20,000 cases were in children. So this is what's being called into the poison control centers. Toothpaste without fluoride is only a fraction, less than 2,000, with 1,600 in children under age 6. Now keep in mind, when this data is being reported in, this is going into, not a drug, this is going into cosmetics and other products. So that's where fluoridated toothpaste are being classified. However, when we look at mercury, mercury in thermometers is being classified separately. All other sources of mercury are either in elemental mercury, which has only 2,500 cases per year, or mercury from unknown sources. I think the unknown sources could be a perfect place for the amalgams to be captured. If you have a patient coming in who has symptoms of mercury toxicity from an existing mercury filling, you have every right, and the patient has every right, to call the Poison Control Center and report that. It's just a thought. Poison Control Center is going to be rolled up. That's a second level of evidence at the federal level, which would now need to be debated, that the data do not exist. Down at the FDA, there's a system called MedWatch. Has anyone ever called in a report to MedWatch? Because having been inside the pharmaceutical industry, involved in clinical trials, we monitor this like there's no tomorrow. If someone sneezes when they're on a drug, we have to report it. They're just the rules. The FDA is only concerned about safety. MedWatch is how we report safety events on any clinical trial. After a drug is marketed, whether it's prescription or OTC, the same thing goes on. Reports can go into MedWatch. The information, there's a call-in number, and there's also regular mail. I checked, and for devices specifically, you cannot fill out an online report. You must fill out the paper report and send it in. Just to give you a brief background, the rules have been in effect since 1984 because there was recognized underreporting of toxicities. The GAO, 5 years after the legislation went into effect, reported that there were still serious problems. The Safe Medical Devices Act of 1990 identifies that device users, and that is any dentist in this audience who is taking care of a patient, device users must report these adverse events. If you don't know who the manufacturer is, if you have a patient coming in who has a mercury filling, you don't know what the source of that mercury was. You don't have to go back to the manufacturer. You go directly to the FDA and report it. Now, the glitch is, and Jim Love and I were talking about this, and we don't know whether or not this could be where the FDA is saying there aren't reports. The FDA does require that users then, at the end of the year, report how many cases they have reported throughout the year. So that may be the glitch. If there are cases being called in and there's not an annual report, which is what the pharmaceutical industry does, they hand over 6-month and 1-year reports on the adverse events. As independent practitioners, if you're not providing that evidence, is the FDA then not counting the individual reports? And that's what we don't know. So what you would need to do is fill out, and this is all on the MedWatch site, fill out the voluntary reporting form, Form 3500, go through, you're just literally filling out boxes, and send it into the FDA. I'll do some more searching to find out whether or not the glitch may be, if there's not an annual report put in, that could be why some of these cases aren't being reported. Okay? I hope this helps.